So he'll make a lot more for this fight.
On a slightly happier note for boxing, then I know you're disappointed about Tyson and all that, but did you get to see the Serrano
Hey,
Taylor
it
fight?
works.
Yes, it was awesome.
Do you think Serrano? I'm over here in the middle, Dana.
Okay.
Do you think Serrano won, as she's saying on socials, or?
I don't know. I mean, I was watching it, but I wasn't scoring it. But it was a great fight. You know, those girls were banging, throwing tons of combos, and that's the other thing. I mean, all the people that are, you know, there's a lot of. Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time, and I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way to fight, I don't know what people expected. You know, Mike's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old, and he knew that Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. So you knew what you were going to get when you saw that fight. You can't be mad; it was fucking free. We all got Netflix anyway, right? And you got to watch the girls fight. And the girls fight was good. You know, I know a lot of people were pissed, and it was a bit of a shit show. But you know, what did you expect? Seriously, when you stayed home and you turned on Netflix that night, we were like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time. No, you fucking did not. You got exactly what you thought you were going to get.
I was there for the Serrano Taylor, but you know, it was.
Oh, you were there and you flew back here? Oh,
No, to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. And that's the listen. If you're a fight fan, you're right. You're right.
Dana, going off that, sorry, just cut me off before. You were obviously watching the event. What did you think of like the production and stuff? Because I imagine as you guys go into this negotiation for the next television rights.
Well, nobody does my production. I do. That's been my deal. But that's not the deal with almost every sport. Maybe every sport, as far as I know. But not me. Nobody's going to control my product. I do. And for Netflix, this thing was brilliant because you knew it was going to pull a massive number because of Mike Tyson, right? And to be fair to Jake, you're going to tune in to watch him get knocked out, hopefully, right? That's what everybody wants to see. And but they needed to do this test. They got the NFL coming at Christmas. They're just getting into live sports. They needed to do this to test something that they knew they would pull a big number on. And Mike Tyson pulls big numbers.
And you booked this Ian Gary versus Shavkat fight for the next pay-per-view. No interim title, just a co-main event, 5 rounds. Was that discussed at all? And why, with Bilal out in this situation, was an interim title not the right decision?
Yeah, because we know when Bilal's coming back. You know, he's not going to be out that long. So it's a number one contender fight. You do 5 rounds, which is great for both of those guys to get 5 rounds under the belt before they fight Bilal. And when do you ever have a fight, especially in MMA? We have 2 undefeated guys. You got an 18-0 with a 100% finish rate and a 15-0. You know, 2 of the best young up-and-coming prospects in the division to face off to see who's the number 1 contender.
Shavkat tweeted out that he was really disappointed in the division. He said basically everyone ranked above Ian turned the fight down. Was it difficult to get the fight made?
No, not at all. Listen, all these guys get disappointed about me. You want to talk about disappointment? Chris Weidman's probably the most disappointed dude on the planet right now. That's the sport, and it happens.
Yeah. And you announced the Q1 schedule tonight. That came out, and now you're going to be in LA in January. Why go there instead of Staples Center? What's appealing about
It's new. I like new arenas, new technology, and this place is supposed to be badass, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I can't wait. This place is supposed to be
Congrats on tonight.
Thank you, sir.
You've turned the UFC into this global entity, powerful. You mentioned that, I think for boxing fans, it was frustrating last night. So often in our lives, when boxing's had big moments, they've stumbled. And that's kind of where the UFC flourishes. Is that still an option for you to revamp the boxing world, or is that just too complicated a task?
It's the question. It's the question to ask. We're going to find out. I'm interested, and we're trying to hammer something out right now. If it gets done, it will probably be done around February, and then we'll find out. It needs to be ripped right down to the ground and rebuilt. When we started this company, we had like 13 contracts. Nobody knew anybody. We weren't on television. We had a DirecTV deal where we did like fucking 2,500 buys every time we did a show, and we literally built it from the ground up. That's how you do it. I don't know if there's ever been a sporting, a business, or anything in the history of the world that has brought in trillions of dollars, trillions in revenue, and at the end of the day, there's nothing left. There's nothing there. It's so that's the plan.
Yeah, just two more in the front right here. The odds for Tom and John were the early odds were just released. Tom is a -135 to John being a +115. I'm curious what you make of those odds.
It's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Just one other last one that I remembered. It was announced Nick Diaz is probably out of his fight against Vicente Luque. Does that have anything to do with that video of Nick that came out?
That Nick's out of the fight?
Yeah, that's been reported.
Shit, I didn't even know that. Nick out of the fight?
Came out.
Okay. Nick's out of the fight.
Well, have you been made aware of that video of Nick going around social media?
I've seen a lot of videos of Nick.
Okay.
And Nate.
Dana, the UFC signed Mikey Musumeci to the first BJJ exclusive promotional contract in UFC history. Can you just talk more about the work that went into that? You said it's been in the works for over a year.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into grappling now, so he's one of many.
Wait, just doing some editing and stuff.
Over here.
Yep.
Yeah, on the night, on a phenomenal night.
Editing channel.
Ask you, were there any upcoming fighters or, a couple guys on the undercard you're actually excited about potential matchups happening later? And also, just to emphasize the impact of tonight, with the past presidential election and everything going on the grandest stage possibly in the country, just the overall energy and everything tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we always, all the guys that are on the undercards are usually guys that we, have high hopes for and that, we're looking to build. I don't really understand your question about the election, but yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, I can feel the difference. When I go into places like New York that's normally crazy blue and people are running up to me and thanking me and saying, and New York has a completely different vibe this time than the last, several times that I've been here. It feels like New York again. It does. 1 down, 1 to go. LA. Let's get LA back.
Dana, just in general, like, why do you think your fighters kind of relate well to Trump? Because like back to back, it was Bo, then Chandler, then John. Like, why do you think they relate so well to the president?
Well, if you saw the election, the entire country relates with Trump right now. When all the swing states, the only states she won were the ones that you didn't need ID to vote in. It would have been interesting if you needed ID, how that would have played out too. I think that I think the whole country, it feels like somebody hit the reset button. Everything feels, and however this election went, everybody was hoping it was a blowout. Either way, so there would be no more bullshit. And what I think is, I think everybody's tired of bullshit, man. We're all tired. We all just want to live our lives and run our businesses and raise our families and do all that shit. And hopefully this stuff will all simmer down in the next 4 years.
I was asking because like when you had that speech when he got elected, you think like Bust with the Boys, like all the podcasters. So it seems like a lot of young men like relate well to Trump. So it's like just like how the fighters are related to him tonight.
So I've had this philosophy for the last 5 years that traditional media is dead. And it doesn't hold the influence that it used to hold. The two most hated people in this world right now are the media and the politicians. Nobody trusts them, and nobody believes them. And the true influence right now is with these kids that are on the internet, and they're called influencers. So I've been creating relationships with these people over the last, like I said, 4 or 5 years. And this election was won on the internet. Fucking
Dana.
The way Power Slap was built is the way this election was won. And the Hispanic vote was incredibly powerful. The male black vote and the youth all came out. So.
Dana,
Yeah.
you've worked with John Jones for 16 years. You've seen him go through ups and downs in and outside of the cage. Outside of his fighting career, what do you think is your most impactful moment you've had with John?
Outside of what? His fighting career?
Yep, outside of the cage. Like as friends.
Me and John Jones never got along outside of the cage. We've had a horrendous relationship for 16 years. Not 16.
It's true. Friends with my pop the balloon.
Y'all can pop whenever y'all feel like y'all want to pop. Y'all. Did you just help him? Y'all can pop whenever y'all feel like.
Damn.
Nobody popped their balloon, so go ahead and shut everything up.
Hey, my name is Nevaeh. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Nevaeh Marie.
Okay. Nobody popping. Okay. So do you? So.
Because he was trying to be funny, but it's okay.
What I do?
No, not you.
Oh, not me. Tired. So how do you feel about 50-50?
That's fine. Like, if you need me to do 50-50, that's cool. But, like, a man gonna take care of you.
Okay. What is your ideal first date?
Something fun. I'm so sick of dinner. Like, that's so boring. Like, let's go to, like, Top Golf or K1 Speed and do something fun. You know what I'm saying?
Tired. So any of my fellas, y'all got a question? You said what?
How old are you?
How old are you?
I'm 19.
This is cooler. Fire Emblem. This is a weird chapter. This is weird. This is weird. Everybody's dying. Very, very difficult chapter. Very difficult chapter.
I still want to get John Jones back because I think John Jones is the best fighter in the world. And when I fought him, I didn't know he was the best fighter in the world. At that point in my career, I had never lost a fight with me being in really good shape. I was like, oh, this kid ain't gonna beat me. I'm thinking now, if I fought him again, like if I'm closer to my prime, I think I would take that fight a little bit different. Now I'll be more nervous. I'll be more cautious. And if I fought him again, I'd probably come out in swim goggles too. I'll fight him some swim goggles.
Did it get you?
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. And the referee, and honestly, I go back and make a mistake and punch that referee too, knock him out. Cause the referee didn't even give a that he was putting his fingers all in my eyes. I just thought that was just blatant. He was just leaving his fingers right there in my eyes. As a fighter, your eyes are your weakest point. It's weaker than your nuts. So we got a cup on.
Yeah.
People think men, their nuts is their most vulnerable, but your eyes are. I still.
How you doing? You look amazing. What's your name?
Why?
What you mean, why you look amazing? What's your name? My name not here.
I don't really get on me.
Why not? She got a man or something?
Yeah.
Okay, but you out here walking though.
I'm going home.
You go home with
I can't have friends.
can't have friends? All right, you have a nice day tonight. Wow, she walking back.
Your car is nice.
I know it's nice, that's why I got it.
You being real for no reason.
Back to your energy, that's all. So like, what type of man you into?
Somebody who can be there, provide for me.
So are you cooking for your man?
No, not really.
So why you saying everything then? Okay, so where you see us going then? Like, why you came by talking to me? Because right now I don't like your mentality. I don't like it tell me like how much you is as a character right now. Like you don't want to. What you mean? Like, do you hear yourself?
I'm a genuine person, literally.
It don't seem like it though.
Cause you don't know me.
I'm good though. You give me gold digger vibes. I don't need gold diggers.
Gold digger?
Yeah. You have a nice day. Yep. Enjoy your walk. Yeah, man. These females is something else. Like.
Man. Weather in the Netherlands. Emblem is a cool game, man. Yeah, different game. Week. It's cute, eh? Can use the heel. That I didn't know. Okay. Doesn't make any sense. Really like this. How cool is that? It's a sword named Kalalbol. Really cool name. What's it mean? Kalalbol. Handcleft is called Hardblade. Sword of Farus Maret. Thunders. It's cool. Respect. He's good. It's a weird chapter. Also difficult. Very, yeah, because it's a survival chapter. A bit sick, man.
Let me tell you this. Let me fucking tell you this. This is America. You can fucking have whoever you want on your podcast. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Imagine a sponsor that's sponsoring you, calling you and telling you that you can't have this guy. Imagine, and this happened to me too. This happened to me. I posted a video for Trump, right, on my personal social media. And one of our big sponsors called and said, take that down. You know what I said? Go fuck yourself. You vote for whoever you want to vote for, and I'll vote for whoever I want to vote for. That's how this works. I don't even care who you're voting for. It's none of my fucking business. Well, fuck you. Yeah. Don't ever fucking call me and tell me who to vote for. Yeah.
Sorry, that's a difficult chapter.
I really, really appreciate it.
Best cities in the world, most underrated cities in the world. If you're an online business owner, you're an entrepreneur. People ask me what's the best place: Brazil, Dubai, Bali, Australia, California, Miami, London, Scandinavia. So let me just lay it out for you here. I can save you a lot of time and a lot of money because I've tried, tested, lived in these cities, spent millions of dollars traveling. And honestly, I think the number one subject that I totally disagree with 99%, even people I respect normally, is their opinions on travel. I don't know what it is about most people's advice on cities and travel. I just think it's horrible advice. Like, I'm talking about people I really respect every other subject. Then I start hearing them talk about the best places to live, and I'm like, you know nothing. So I know that sounds cocky, but first off, in order to really answer this, what are you optimizing for? So for example, like I have lived in the last 5-10 years, I've lived in, California, London, my farms. By the way, I'll talk about farms for a second. If you're optimizing for peace and happiness, farms is like very high on the list. And so there's a different place. In general, you should have 2 or 3 homes that you rotate through with all your stuff already set up in them. I'm in Stockholm, Sweden right now. I'm at the Grand Hotel. I rarely stay at hotels because I mostly go to cities where I have completely set up. So like anytime I order a shirt, my assistant team, I have like a concierge team, they just buy 3 of the shirts, send it to 3 places. Any book I like a lot, they send it to 3 places. So when I'm traveling around, like my bathroom's all set up and all that. And so, that's the ideal situation for you. Is it your preset? Travel is a tricky one because travel can kind of make you broke if you travel between hotel to hotel. I met a guy in France. He's a German dude. He has, in the last 10 years, he's been to all 93 countries in the world. And he says he never stays in one city more than 7 days. He gets bored. He said usually 3 days. My personality type, that'll drive me crazy, But a travel rotation is what I have. So I'm not actually traveling like a tourist. So like I have my farms in the US near Washington, D.C. And then I have Southern California, Beverly Hills. And then I have Scandinavia, Copenhagen, Denmark, Sweden. So I rotate slowly between those, and they're all set up. So I just take a flight, get off, I'm back like the same day. I don't miss a beat, and I think you can be more productive on an airplane. So I want to go through the 4 criteria that you might have: health, wealth, love, happiness, and give you my opinions on that. Because, for example, if I want to optimize for physical health.
You know what, guys? I'd rather give you this kind of advice. He's an entrepreneur called Ty Lopez, and he's very good. Let's listen to it.
I'm going to be in Puerto Rico, and my farm's in the mountain, and maybe like Norway. Norway's one of the lowest microplastics in the world, the cleanest water. Iceland, New Zealand, and Norway is the best water in the world. Bergen, Norway, that's where Voss, they sell like $20 water in the US in those glass containers. That's like tap water in Bergen, Norway. So if you're optimizing for health, my favorite places in the world would be Puerto Rico, because it's, one of the places when Columbus was in Puerto Rico, one of his surprising things was how many old natives he found. He found all these, they were like Taino Indians, Caribbean, all these people that looked like, that had said they were over 100 years old and just looked very young. And you have especially in the modern world, there's almost no pollution drift. Because Puerto Rico, if you look on a map, in fact, the biggest pollutant when I was living in Puerto Rico is sandstorms off the Sahara Desert, comes over the Atlantic Ocean and hits Puerto Rico. It's crazy. Okay, so you don't have to worry about smog, pollution, and air is like the number one thing. If you live in a place with horrible air, it's going to obviously affect your health. I mean, breath is everything. So you lose your breath. You can go without water and food for a while, without shelter, but you can't go without breath. So you got vitamin D available. I've gotten the most cut. You want to get lower ab veins as a man? Puerto Rico. Jogging on the beach. Beach is warm. No, you have a lot of, from Wi-Fi, you have a lot of like signals. Like I live in Manhattan. I live in this, billionaire row. And in this building, there was so much EMFs. If you looked at the Wi-Fi connection, it was like 500 or whatever, not 500, but 50 connecting near you. So Puerto Rico, you have like no EMFs. You go out in the ocean, pick up surfing, things like that. So Puerto Rico, I would say if you're optimizing for health as an online entrepreneur, I put it at very high. Plus, if you're an American citizen, if you structure it right, there's some great tax benefits. There's some things I don't like about Puerto Rico. I don't think it's the best place in many ways for wealth, unless you own a highly appreciating asset or you're doing a lot of, ordinary income, like you're a rapid trading kind of quant guy that holds stuff for a day, or a crypto trader. For a person making 200 to 500 grand or even $1 million, if you're not optimizing for health, I would question the validity of Puerto Rico being the best. Okay, Australia is very healthy. You get down in like Bondi Beach, in Australia, it's a place everybody looks amazing. People are in great shape, pretty sunny, kind of a Southern California health vibe. Believe it or not, Southern California, LA, Palm Springs, and San Diego are crazy healthy too. In many ways, the health movement started there. The gym movement, Arnold Schwarzenegger, these guys pushing gyms and Jack LaLanne's. So you have great restaurants, good food. In many ways, the only good food you can get in America is growing your own food, or Southern California. They don't put in the seed oils and stuff. They're kind of way ahead of the game, the Erewhon kind of movement. So I still think if you're optimizing for health, Southern California is underrated. Now, in terms of overrated places, I think New York's very overrated if you're optimizing for health. But extremely, people think, oh, it's good restaurants, good food, you walk a lot because there's no subway. No, the air's bad. the weather's not great. If you're in the city, you have tremendous cortisol spikes. So no, Manhattan's very overrated for health. London's overrated for health. Nobody's ever been like, yo, I moved to London and I got in way better shape. It's dark. Now, I like London for other things. I think London for the wealth optimization goal is one of the better big cities because it's one of the highest GDP cities. You can look at how much money flows through a city. I think, London's in the top 5 in the world. Scandinavia, very healthy place. Sweden, and I would throw a whole Nordic. So Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands. Crazy if you're optimizing for health. The only thing is not so much in the winter, you know? So, I would say Sweden's great. It's an underrated place in the summer and spring for about 6 months. Health, underrated place. Getting your own little farm. I have one in the mountains outside DC. A lot if you can find limestone soils in the United
You know why? I rather give you this kind of advice. It's better than say. This is much better than TikTok. This is rather educate you about true entrepreneurs world. And of course, and gaming. And I just want to give you guys the best content.
United States or the deep glacial soils of the Midwest. Extremely healthy place. I think Brazil is great for health. I think it's a very healthy place. You know, Brazil has some really high quality food if you can get it, and it's inexpensive. So if you are trying to be healthy and you're on a budget, you know, you can go to Rio de Janeiro, Rio, they call it. You got sun, you got people optimizing their bodies so you get the pressure of looking good and stuff like that. So I think Brazil is a good place. I think, you know, a place like Thailand, I would say is overrated. I haven't been that much in Thailand, but, you know, it depends where you are. If you're in a big city like Bangkok, you know, if you want to live in a big city and be healthy, I would say if you can pick like San Diego, that's a better, it's like the 5th largest city in America, pretty healthy, or high mountain places, maybe like Denver, Colorado, stuff like that. Okay. And I said kind of overrated. I'd say New York and London are very overrated for health. I would say, let's switch for a second to wealth, because a lot of you want to make money. So health, wealth, love, happiness. If I'm optimizing overrated and underrated cities for wealth, it depends how much you make. If you're making crazy money, then Southern California is a problem, because I consider all Southern California one region, right? I used to live between La Jolla, San Diego, and LA, just drive back and forth. It's Palm Springs, it's like a triangle, Orange County. So Southern California is underrated until you get real wealthy. Then you got some problems. Now people say, what about the crime? What about the issues? Live in Beverly Hills. So if you're making like that sweet spot, like 500,000, let's say 300,000 to 3 million, like Southern California is valid. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay a 13.5% state tax if you're an American citizen. If you're not American, it can be one of your bases. If you're not an American citizen, it's amazing. America's more lenient on taxes than for non-citizens than almost any country in the world. With our own citizens, we're, you know, nasty. So California, when you start making more than $3 million a year, you want that state tax starts to add up. The premium starts to not be worth the 13.5%. That's a marginal tax rate, so it's not always exactly 13.5%. But like I say, you start making a mil or more profit, it starts to be a little nasty. Okay, but most entrepreneurs don't get to 1 to 10 million in profit really for a long time. So I would say Southern California is underrated. Now, Miami has become a spot. Vegas. Here's the thing: you gotta look. If your only goal is just you're like, I don't care about health, wealth. I don't care about health, wealth, happiness. I just want to create wealth. Well, then you got to put Manhattan, London, you know, Southern California, and even Tokyo. Those are your wealthiest GDP cities. Maybe Berlin you throw in there. My grandma's side's been from Berlin for like 500 years when it was Prussia, you know. So I would say that if you're going hardcore wealth, then, you know, the U.S. becomes a place you want to be, because there's no place with more creative risk takers than the U.S. in my experience. If you're raised, you know, if you're doing
Profile picture of John Jones. This is pretty funny, right? The duck champion. I like it. I like it.
something risky, you got to start up, you need to raise capital, you need VC, stuff like that. American VCs are going to take a chance. You want to network, Americans are open to network. You want to sell a product, you got a new company, Americans are. So if wealth is the goal, you got to put the US in that. Now, people say, what about Dubai? Dubai's valid in the sense that, you know, if you're EU and you want to, a lot of people are moving there because they can structure their taxes much lower than when they live in mainstream Europe. So Dubai for wealth is pretty good. But, you know, it's still a low GDP place. You're talking a $100 billion place versus Manhattan is 1.7 trillion. Southern California is 1.6 trillion. I think London's about 800 billion. Tokyo, I think, is a trill. And obviously Tokyo, you got to know, I don't have as many customers in Asia, so I haven't focused there. So you can, you know, where you should live for what. So I think, you know, overrated places, you know, in many ways, it's like, is Vegas and Miami, if I'm just optimizing for wealth, I don't know. You know, it's a growing place. There's a lot of people there who act like they have money, but it's not like Beverly Hills. People have 3 generations of money. One of my neighbors is Tom Cruise in Beverly Hills. It's funny when people are at my parties on Snapchat, they're like, how come this is Tom Cruise house on the Snap map? I'm like, well, welcome to the big leagues here. My neighbor across the street sold his clothing company to JCPenney for $600 million. His brother sold another clothing line. They're a big Moroccan Jewish family.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, his brother sold, I don't know the price was public, but a couple hundred, everybody there. My next door neighbor was building the house, thought it was too small compared to the house that I have, and he tore it down and just ate $6 million in cost because he was like, oh, it looks too small. I don't want it to look like a guest house. Because where I live used to be where the Sultan of Brunei, who used to be the richest man in the world, lived. So Beverly Hills has a lot of power. It's safer. You got better police. But Southern California, you know, it's not as safe as it used to be. So there is some downsides. Places like Vegas and Miami is a little more new money. All of the U.S. is new money. And I'm new money, so I don't look down on new money. But when I wanted to network, if I'm just hardcore money mode, I'm between, this is what I did, between Beverly Hills and Manhattan. Those are money places. You want ruthless money, you go to Manhattan. You want a somewhat ruthless but a little laid back, you go to L.A. You want ruthless money, you go to Manhattan. Manhattan's, when I bought big companies in Manhattan, done big deals. I go in there screaming. You just go in there yelling. You know, that's how you get respect in New York. So Miami is a little bit of a hybrid. You can get some health. It's healthier than New York, and there's some wealth being built there. You know, there is money there. Grant Cardone, a friend of mine, you know, he set up there. There are people that I know. I think PBD moved there. As I know, Ben Shapiro. So there's online entrepreneurs going there. But, you know, Vegas, is that the best networking place? I would put Vegas a little bit overrated if you're just pure wealth. Dubai, if I'm an American, I get some Americans like, should I go? If I'm optimizing just for money, do I go to Dubai? It's a little overrated for that. Because remember, as an American citizen, you're not getting away from taxes by moving to Dubai. You really can't structure. America doesn't work that way. America taxes you if you have an American passport. So Dubai can or cannot be overrated. It's like on the fence. Once again, I'm saying if you want to optimize for wealth. Now, if you want to optimize for love, which to me is friends, family, romance, Scandinavia is the best place in the world. Bar none. Not even close. A second close would probably be South America from my experience. Like places like Brazil, you know, places like Colombia or Dominican or Mexico. Family-oriented, social. So if you want that love, social life, you want to get married, you want to have kids. Scandinavia is the safest, you know, Copenhagen, safest place in the world. It's like the lowest crime rate essentially in Copenhagen. I think Reykjavik, Iceland, and Copenhagen are neck and neck, always ranked number one for the safest city. So if your mom's there, your girlfriend, your daughter, your wife, they can go out night to a club at 3 at night, be drunk, and walk home through Copenhagen, and nothing happening to them. Right? So you know, also average Danish person has a 14-person friend group. The average American has like 2. Danish have all these social clubs and things. Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, these get voted happiest place in the world. Although I would not, that is a big mistake. I would not say they're the happiest. There's no way. Denmark and Sweden, after I've lived since 2006 on and off in Scandinavia, you know, been going back and forth. Brazil's happier. I would say Scandinavia is the most satisfied place. They're misinterpreting. Those scientists are really making a mistake by calling Scandies the happiest. Just no Scandi believes that. Like any Scandi watching this, you leave in a comment. You actually think you're the happiest, jolliest, laugh. Come on. It's the quietest people, the shy. But I would say they're the most satisfied with their life, meaning my Danish friends don't want to move. Like, they don't ask how I get a green card to the U.S. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends, what do you think about the U.S.? They go, well, it's kind of a shit show. We like to go there a couple months. It's like watching a reality show like the Kardashians. We're like, what's going on? But then they want to go home. Whereas other countries were maybe happy, you know, Latin America, they do want to leave where they live and come to the U.S. and come to Europe and come to Australia. So I would say, if I'm optimized for love, I'm going to Scandinavia and Latin America. And you can pick. It's hard to know. It's like, oh, you like Costa Rica, you like Brazil, you like Argentina. They're very similar. And same with Scandinavia. Oh, what do you mean, Ty? Do you mean Norway? Do you mean Finland? Do you mean Iceland? Do you mean, you know, Denmark? Do you mean Faroe Islands? Do you mean Sweden? I'm just saying the whole thing is a related culture. They're a Germanic Viking-ish culture. The Vikings were there in whatever, 800s to 1400s or something was the rise. And they came out of Germany. So they have that in common. Now, one place I haven't mentioned, you know, Canada, interesting place. I would kind of put it in the love category, like kind of more down-to-earth people if you want to stay in North America, but not great for wealth because you got a government that kind of, there are a lot of great entrepreneurs though. I mean, a lot of them are brain drain, are leaving Canada. So if you move to Canada now and you're trying to optimize for wealth versus love, a lot of the wealth people have left Canada and it's kind of a mass exodus. That's happening a little bit in Europe too because the taxation gets weird and then governments get frantic because the rich people leave. So then they have to raise the taxes on the few rich people that are left. Remember in America, like wealthy people pay 8 or 9% of all the taxes. People say the rich should pay more. I'm like, well, they already pay the majority in almost every country. So maybe they should pay more. Okay, you should say like 99% of all taxes. But countries in Scandinavia, in Europe, and America, and in Canada, they're struggling because of the taxation. They're getting brain drained and have to keep raising taxes. Sorry. So, you know, for love, I would say Australia is not horrible for social life. It's like, you know, you go there and people are happy. You can make a lot of friends. I think Scandinavia is really underrated on the friendship side, especially places like Denmark and Sweden. It's really just very friendly with their friend group, but not friendly to strangers. Norway has a phrase, fremmedfrygt or something like that, or Sweden says främlingsfientlighet, which means we don't like outsiders. So if you go to Scandinavia, you kind of got to go back. You can't just pop in once because they're a little bit shy at first and they're kind of insular. Okay, health, wealth, love, happiness. Happiness, farm. Buy yourself a little farm. Buy yourself a homestead. I've got big farms. You know, I've got a small one too, but I've merged them into big farms because I'm in the food agriculture business. You know, Joel Salatin, my first mentor, his cows are on my farm right now actually. So, but farm, I mean, that's an easy one. The overrated happiness cities are all cities. It's very hard to be happy in a huge city. Now, if you're a city person and you want to be happy, that's when I'm going to the mid-size kind of cities, the mid-size cities. So what's a mid-size city? Copenhagen, Helsinki, Finland.
I'm sorry, this is so sick. Look, I'm a huge martial arts fan, so look.
O terror das faixas rosa, depois de botar o pique no baile nós vai embora assim. Fonte dentro do Corolla, 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 fonte dentro do Corolla.
Costa Rica, it's more rural, kind of Dominican Republic. So if you're optimizing for your happiness, you can stay in America. America has the best farmland in the world overall. When you look at a lot of farm potential is the latitude. So like my farms, I'm right now in, I think Stockholm latitude is 60 something. So it's very north of the equator. It's far from the equator. So you don't get a lot of heat units. It's called BTUs, British thermal units. The US has the most fertile land inside of a latitude range with tremendous BTUs. So you can really grow a lot of food. There's a county in the center of Illinois, a state in the US, and it's the most fertile county in the world. Places like Ukraine, Saskatchewan, the pampas of Argentina, some parts of Germany and France are tremendously fertile black topsoil, this thick black loamy soil, but it doesn't have the heat units. So as I said, you can stay, and for me, you want to stay on limestone soils. You can look on a geological map to see what has limestone in it, and anywhere in the world, by the way, some of Puerto Rico has limestone soils. Limestone, is a high calcium, it's called parent material if you study geology. So it's like what the soil comes from is from rock. All dirt that you see is basically a blend of rocks, organic matter, which is like small plants and animals that are decaying. And you have some other inorganic things in there too. So the parent material of your farm, when you buy a farm, the underlying parent material determines how fertile your farm is. And in general, spend more money on a farm that has more fertile soil. It's very hard to raise the fertility of your soil. I know people, I want to buy in Oklahoma. Most Oklahoma is not very fertile. I want to buy farmland in southern Missouri. Most southern Missouri is not great. I want to buy a little farm in Texas. A lot of Texas is not fertile. East Texas is, near the Mississippi Delta. But yeah, I have a lot of experience. My first business was in farming. I was trained by Joel Salatin, who now, if you Google him, is the most famous farmer in the world. In fact, the best thing about the recent deal is he looks like he's going to be the advisor to the Secretary of Agriculture for the U.S. So, farming, people don't know. I'm an online entrepreneur, but agriculture was like food business was my first business when I was a teenager. So I've been doing the food game, and I've worked on, some of the best farms, big farms in New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, all across the U.S. I lived with the Amish for 2.5 years. I still have a farm the Amish run, and I have big farms myself. I used to have about 1,200 acres. I reduced down to about 500 acres, 200-300 hectares now, so I could just focus. And so, yeah, for your farmette, still look for fertile soil. Now, you can do, like if you're not going to hardcore farming, you can buy farms. You can take these 4 pillars, these cities that I mentioned, and you can kind of mix and match them. So you could have, for example, if you want a farm, Scandinavia is pretty fertile. You could have a farm there if you're also optimizing for love, life, social life, because it's good for that. It's decent for wealth. I wouldn't say Scandinavia is the number one place in the world, but it's very disproportionate. Denmark, has Novo Nordisk, has Legos. Spotify comes out of Scandinavia. Sweden is right down the street here. Their offices. So a lot of big tech companies are actually coming. So to kind of summarize all this, because I know some people will be like, no, Ty, just give me a simple list. The problem with that simple list is it's oversimplifying a very important thing. I would say the top 5 decisions you make in your life, the top 2 most important, who you have kids with and what career you choose. I'm so glad I chose online entrepreneur. You get that decision wrong, you go down the wrong career path that doesn't match your personality and your curiosity. You're gonna have half of your life suck. You have kids with the wrong person, half your life, the other half's gonna suck. But invert that, and if you get those 2 right, you've gotten maybe not 100% of life right, but you've gotten 80% of life right with those 2. I would say the third most important is where you live. I would actually put how you get educated as third, and then fourth, I'd say, is where you live. And as Albert Einstein said, you should make things simple, but not simpler. So watch this whole video. You need to watch the whole thing. If I could have given you the answer in 1 minute, I would have. The reason I didn't is because it's dangerous advice. If I just go, oh, Puerto Rico, then like people move to Puerto Rico, and then like, wait, this isn't as good as I thought. For example, for social life, I don't think Puerto Rico is great. It's a lot of, especially if you go to like the places where people, online entrepreneurs work, it's this little weird bubble of like some crypto entrepreneur, a lot of mental unstable people move there. So it's the same like Dubai. It's like, yeah, it's a great place, and there's many great things about Dubai. I'm not anti-Dubai, but it's not in the 4 pillars. So let me end by saying, if I had to summarize the places that you have the best chance of getting all 4, at least, maybe not perfectly, I'm going to put, Sweden and Denmark in there. Believe it or not, I'll put Brazil in there. Or similar. You could say Argentina, if you like. You could say Colombia. You could say Costa Rica. I'm going to put Latin America and cities in there. And like I said, I'm a little biased towards Brazil. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's a big country. There's 250 million people there. So the places that I think Southern California, if you're making less than $1 million profit, is still underrated if you live in a place that's safe. So you can't just live like anymore in like Hollywood or just Koreatown. People used to just move to LA, live in Korea, cheap Koreatown. Now you need to be making, that's why I said it's that sweet spot. If you're too poor, you should not live in Southern California. And if you're too wealthy, you shouldn't live in Southern California. So my favorite place is, let's just take it. So once again, I got to put disclaimers on. It's not only what your goals are, but how wealthy you are.
Learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose.
This is one of the great speeches ever. It's so good.
Like everyone else. You want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die is to be liberated from it. So when tomorrow comes, you must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying like everyone else.
If you stand to sell a company for $100 million, don't you shouldn't be in California full time. Okay, California's tricky residency type regulations and rules as to who's now, and it depends also if you're a U.S. citizen. Because if you ain't a U.S. citizen, you can go to California.
Guys, sleep. Thank you guys. Alhamdulillah. I love you.